Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. Let's face it, the future is now. We're living in a connected cyber society, and we need to stop ignoring it or pretending that it's not affecting us. Join us as we explore how humanity arrived at this current state of digital reality and what it means to live amongst so much technology and data. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Black Cloak provides concierge cybersecurity protection to corporate executives and high net worth individuals to protect against hacking, reputational loss, financial loss, and the impact of a corporate data breach. Learn more at blackcloak.io. BugCrowd's award-winning platform combines actionable contextual intelligence with the skill and experience of the world's most elite hackers to help leading organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities, protect customers, and make the digitally connected world a safer place. Learn more at bugcrowd.com. Devo unlocks the full value of machine data for the world's most instrumented enterprises. The Devo Data Analytics Platform addresses the explosion in volume of machine data and the crushing demands of algorithms and automation. Learn more at devo.com.
All right, we are trying to redefining society again. It's a hard task, but I'm not giving up. I'm trying to place our society into connected, let's say reconnect society with the digital world and technology. And I think there is a lot of people that are refusing that, kind of like the old days maybe are. Nothing is as good as it used to be. I don't know. That's kind of, now I sound like a grandparent. But there are other people that are born actually into a world that is already full of technology, smartphone, the internet. I'm kind of consider myself lucky because I'm kind of in between. I've experienced the analog world as a teenager in the 80s. And then I deep dive into the digital world, and that goes with the internet, computer, but also it goes with music, because if you know me, I like music. I'm never going to pass an opportunity to talk about that. And so today I'm excited about this conversation with Charles Ellingsen, actually, straight from Norway, all the way over there, while I'm in LA right now. And I'm excited to have this conversation about technology, music, NFTs, Web3, cryptocurrency, but mostly I think we're going to talk about music because Charles is a former musician. Can you ever be a former musician? I think you're always going to, if you're a musician, you're always going to be a musician. But we'll dig into that as well. So before I get too annoying with this, Charles, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself, and then I'm looking forward to have this conversation.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to be here, Marco. You may not know this about me, but I've been listening to your podcast, and I love what this whole thing represents. I think we're touching into very deep but interesting and needed subjects that we need to get more light on. And you inviting me here to connect to talk about NFTs, the role in music, and well, we will touch into all of these subjects, but it's highly interesting and I'm hyped for it. Well, as you said, I'm Charles. I'm the CEO of Unity Network. Short story. I founded Unity Network in 2021, where we are now developing an NFT-based ticketing system for both professional and private event organizers. We're trying to create, basically what we are doing is we're trying to create a platform that is easy to use and inclusive for both artists and event organizers. where everyone's invited, basically. Prior to being blessed with the position I have now at Unity Network, I have worked with many things. I've been invested in the blockchain industry since 2014. I've been a Web3 advisor since 2016. I've been doing HR as an investor, also in some projects, management and sales, of course, which is sales is something I have a small heart for. But since my basically from my 20s and earlier, my heart was with music. I found an interest in music from a very early age. And I always borrowed guitars because I couldn't afford one myself. But when I was 13, in Norway, you are able to start working when you're 13. And I started working on my birthday. That morning, I stood up at 6 a.m. in the morning and sold newspapers to try to afford a guitar, basically. But when I was 14 years old, selling newspapers in Norway as a 13-year-old boy, it's not, you don't earn gold. So so when I was 14, I was blessed with my sister, who bought me my first basically electric guitar, that began my journey within the music industry, basically.
And it always stays with you. Like I said at the beginning, when you love music, you don't want to stop it. And that's kind of like, I think it could be the title of this episode. It's going to be "Don't Stop the Music," and I think it was suggested in what your bio was saying. So, how can we connect all of this, which is the love for technology, your marketing, selling experience, and your passion for music? And I think we should have this conversation rotate right around that, which is what you do with your new company. And I feel like maybe it's one of those things that makes you get up early every morning with the passion of doing something, kind of like what you did the first time that you went and sold newspaper for your birthday. So that tells a lot about who you are. So what was the catalyst to say, I can put all of this together? I can connect my passions and make a business out of it, but also maybe change the way that society work in a certain way. Maybe the musician approach their business, their own copyrights, and their future in a certain way. So I know it's a big question, but start wherever you want. Like,
yeah. Well, this conversation is now very interesting, of course. Well, let me think of it this way: building a band is very fun. Before going into this solo venture of mine, with writing songs, I used to have a band where we did cover songs. Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, you just named my two favorite bands. If you put Black Sabbath in there, you got it all.
Oh yeah, they're great. So we had all of this. Putting a band together, sometimes someone isn't cut for it, or they have too much school. At least when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. But having auditions, creating the band, wow, that's magic. You have auditions, you jam together to see if you're a good fit. It's like dating, basically. And you get to know people and form very, very strong bonds. Music is played by the heart first and foremost, and then you listen with your ears. And when you create something, you just jam together, creating medleys. It's magical. And being an entrepreneur, creating Unity Network is not that different. We have interviews, Web3 workshops. We get to know people from around the world, having meetings with people from Belgium. Yesterday, I had this morning from Germany, and now having this interview with you. It's so interesting for me, and I'm drawn to it. I think much because of the music industry, I'm drawn to other people, to other, to basically to this. And the music industry, much like the Web3 industry, is very social and fun, but it's quite tough also. When we saw the shift from Web 1, you remember those old HTML websites and emails you couldn't change the text size. To the Web 2, where we got social media, Facebook and the other big companies like Google, which makes searching much easier and connecting much easier, and online ticketing services as well. This was great because now we had a bigger audience. We could attack a bigger audience as artists, as musicians. If we had to had a concert in our local pub area on a Saturday evening, we could post this on Facebook, and it was groundbreaking. I remember I had Facebook since 2008 because of the music. I didn't care about connecting with my friends at school because we just rang the door. And I think now we are going to a different stage, the third stage, which should be for people going from Web 1 to Web 2. I think going from Web 2 to Web 3 should be experienced in a positive way for the artist that is involved. With the added layer of Web 3, we can secure smart tickets as NFTs. We can have NFTs worth one song, like a single. Remember those singles you bought on CDs? And you can basically sell a ticket, but hey, you get the new world premiere of my song baked into your NFT ticket, and it will be available after the concert. You cannot do that with many of the other services because you would then own the song because it's an NFT. I think it makes it even more convenient and easier to host a gig, but it also makes it more convenient and easier for guests to be involved.
So let me stop you because I already know this is going to be a conversation that can go in a lot of different directions, even if we stay in the realm of music. But maybe for our audience, you kind of define very quickly, Web 1.0, then Web 2.0, which, could tell social media and maybe applications and the smartphone rolling in and having apps and API and stuff. But then you got the Web 3.0. You already threw there like NFTs and maybe independence from this bigger website. But could you maybe summarize the way that you would explain Web 3.0 to someone that is not as tech savvy as you are? Like explain it to, I don't know, one of your friends or grandma or, as they say, like what is, in your opinion, the essence of Web 3.0?
So I like to explain it to if I explain it to my mother, and she's involved. She knows all. she's reading up. Well, my son is in Web 3. No, it's just official. But yeah, you may say that the internet, Web 1, the original internet, is a connection of computers. The cloud is another person or entity's computer, what you call the cloud. Web 3 is the connection of application and services, where we have entered this Web 3 space. Web 2 space was entered with the industry in focus. They saw their shot and took it. That's why we're having Facebook and these big entities. But Web 3 was made by the people. So that's why we're reading about people being crypto billionaires or have suddenly, oh, I forgot about 500 bitcoins. I didn't know they were supposed to be worth anything. And on the other side, you have people that have used should have used something that is secure and open as Web3, but didn't have it. So you have, going back to the original, is you have connected computers, which is the internet, but Web3 is connected services and it's open. All transactions should be open and available on the internet. A good example of this use case is if you are going to give something to Red Cross. If you give $100 to Red Cross, where does that money go? You don't know where it goes, if it comes to bring life or it goes to the organization itself, which both is good. But it would be amazing if you gave them $100 and you can just follow that dollars from wallet to wallet and see, wow, they bought new shelters for shelter dogs. This is something Web3 can do. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. When we're talking NFTs, many will think, art. This is Web3 art sold. But no, Web3 is, NFTs is so much more than that. It's just the tip of the iceberg. In India, they had this police station where many of the police reports weren't secure. They could be altered. They weren't delivered correctly and other things. So what they did, they began this project, NFT police report. They cannot be altered. You can basically track from whoever files the police report, anonymously, of course, and see where the police report lies. And if it had been altered, which is kind of impossible with contracts online, but if it has been, it shows on the Web3. So it's Web3, but with tracing.
It's something to me, and I use this as an example sometimes, is make business more accountable, because you could track pretty much anything with that, right? You can track even this food label really does what it says it does. Like this ingredient, where do they come from? So to the excess, you can make everybody in the chain accountable, and you apply that, as you say, to the Red Cross, to the police, to food and environment. You know, are you really as environmental friendly as you say that you are, for example? And then we can now bring it back to the music. So here's what I'm thinking. Since when I was a kid, you always think like the band get the record label deal and then they're done. They're like, yep, now we're successful. We got that record deal. But then unless you're the really big band, if you want to say band or singers or artists in general, you get a margin of that because the record label takes a lot of it. And they kind of own you back in the days. And then I think with the Web 2.0, people started to be more in control of their success. But there was also, I think, a problem where as you and your band were advertising maybe your show on Facebook, and maybe somebody taped the show, video recorded it, and you get hundreds, thousands, millions of views on now TikTok, maybe not back then, but it would be Facebook or YouTube. Then at that point, the record company come to you and say, oh, now you're successful, I'm going to give you a contract because I know you already have an audience. I don't need to discover you. You've already been discovered. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the result didn't change, meaning once you get the label sign, they own your wallet pretty much, and you get a residual of the contract with that. So what's the vision at this point of an artist that understand the power and the potential of the cryptocurrency and the digital contract and the crypto contract and the Web 3.0? What is really that can happen in owning and promoting yourself and not being owned by the record label.
Yeah, that's a very good remark, and you've done your research. We actually Evicom came from is inspired by the food and market basically. WeChain is something that track flour, how much milk, how much yeast, how much water is in your bread when you buy it. You can basically track where the water is from, where the flour is from. And this is some inspiration for Evicom, for our Evicom. If you're an artist and you have, let's say you're big, as you say, you made it, you have many on TikTok, people following you, and they want to make you have an appearance in their city. Basically, what an event organizer does for you is create the event and make you go on stage and host backstage. Often there's food, good food, something to drink, and you're having fun because you're an artist. You don't think about the money if you're in love with the industry of music. You want to create. You want to move people. You want to share the love of what you're doing, and when you get noticed, it's hard. It's easy to forget that it's actually an industry. It's money we're talking about, and I think that many record companies take advantage of this because it's profitable. If we were to have blockchain and NFT baked in every step of the way of the artist, even signing the contract couldn't be altered and it's online and whatever. You could see if someone's selling, say, Marco, if you have a cup that it's your face on it, holding a guitar and your name, and people buying the Marco coffee mug, you will get a portion of that. Every time someone buys something on the blockchain, it's registered. And if we have basically showing some royalties to the artist, it should be at any point of sale. If you buy a Justin Bieber cup, he should get some money from each sale everywhere, and this is made possible with NFTs. Also, some interesting add-on is if you're having a concert, as I said, with the release of a song, it can be connected to the NFTs, but you can also have connections with plus one friend, hotel deals, and so on to bring in more people towards your show. If we think about the artist, and this make marketing also more clever and a bit cheaper, so the more money can go towards the artist. And with Web3, we can see how much the event organizer gets, how much the venue owner gets, how much the marketeers get, sales, how much the ticket service get, and how much the artist gets. And if we had insight in this today, I can assure you that the artists that are rich means that you have a manager that is even more richer.
And I think history is full of that. Like artists that then they break up with their longtime manager because they find out that it was kind of appropriating of money that maybe wasn't really made by that person. But as you think this as an artist, you said something at the beginning that you're like, the artist doesn't think much about money. He thinks about the art. It's kind of like the artist that is a painter. Like a lot of painters, they die poor because they're not maybe commercially savvy and smart. There is others that actually made a lot of money during their lifetime, like Picasso, for example, but many other, they didn't have that edge. And then their value goes up after they're dead, but they didn't get much during their time life. Now, how easy is for the person that is a musician that spent his life learning an instrument, putting the band together, writing, and then say, well, I go with a record company with a manager because then they take care of the business side and I can keep doing what I love to do. And when you present this contract technology, crypto, and all of that, and creating material that is creative, like I can attach perks when you buy a ticket. Maybe I'll get you a t-shirt sign or a digital NFT that you can have as a memory of the Guns N' Roses concert or Beyonce or whatever you like. But aren't you as an artist still depending from someone that knows all of that? Because do you want to dedicate yourself in learning all that stuff? How easy is it? And do artists really care?
No, I think much of being an artist is that it comes naturally. It happens so slowly over time. You learn to play guitar. It's fun. You master to play the guitar. You master to play some drums. You meet some in the industry because you play this, well, say at parties or in the woods, whatever, and meet people who have the same interest in you. You form a band, and this goes slowly. This is 5-6 years, and you're doing good. You find a lead singer. He's amazing or she's amazing. And they learn to play guitar too, the singers. And we're just having fun. And someone says, hey, you should do a gig one time. I would come and listen.
You should get money out of this.
Yeah. And then it happens. It's so slowly. It's so slow paced. But like for Justin Bieber, who was discovered on YouTube, for people who is discovered, it isn't like earlier they went in with investments and made sure to sell or put the CD records all over the place. In Norway, we need to have it in Canada. We need to have it in South Asia. It's not like that anymore because of the internet. You get famous, even if it's planned or not. And I think it's a beauty and a curse because people see green when you get famous and you have no way of tracking how much they take of your cut without the crypto industry. And this is where EVCom and NFT ticket services come in hand, because that service can be the middleman with you and your manager and the venue. So they register at the end of the day a contract, which is the code for crypto, basically, for the NFT ticket. Whenever a ticket is sold, you get $10, they get $10 each, and everyone is fair price. So it's fair price, basically. But yeah, it happens so slowly, but success today happens overnight. So it's hard to get your mind through it.
So I guess, again, I go back to my question, which is, as you are an artist and you're building your expertise, your art, whatever that is, how do you also get into your mind that you have to project yourself in the future, hoping that you're going to make it, and be ready for when you're going to make it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know when is the time to get into protecting your property, your art, before it goes out there and is on YouTube's and is on DJ that may take a sampling of your song and put it in another song, and you have no control. So my point is, it seems hard, if I put myself in the shoes of an artist, to say, I don't want to learn that. How am I going to do that?
Well, yeah, it's put your mind around it, wrap your mind around it. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. I haven't been famous in music, but I have known someone who is a good friend of mine. He was amazing on guitar. How also He did well, and he just quit because it wasn't for him. He didn't earn any money, and he needed to have an income. He got a kid, he had a wife, and he was so talented. I mean, and I had this other man, a good friend of mine. He's an event organizer for bigger events, and they don't earn much either. Also, of course, they take home some more than the artist, that's for sure. But in the end, I think it's the marketing and the ones that host the venue, of course, the property that earns the most cash from it. You know, most events are relied on people volunteering to do work, and it's a reason for it. So I think either event organizers, so hosting bigger events, when hearing their word sold out, they aren't prepared, and we have seen that time and time again. Same with the artists. You have seen artists go from 100 to 0 because their mind is crazy, because we as human, I don't think, is built for success overnight. But those who are, well, if you have a band, and remember, let's say Guns N' Roses is a good example. They were prepared. They have been sitting on records for a year, producing CDs, and they sent it out everywhere in the world, and did market it on every CD store. Of course, people would buy it. It was planned. But today it's not planned. So it's hard to wrap your mind around it, how to prepare for it. But I think the best way to prepare for it now is to learn about new technologies that can help you and assist you in your way towards success, and make sure that you, as an artist or event organizer, is paid equally or what you deserve.
I'd like to pick your brain into something that you're discussing right now, which is event. So there are physical events, and then, that there's the metaverse. I don't want to talk about the metaverse, but I want to talk about the opportunity of monetize from your art without being in the system of getting 10 big trucks to go from one city to another, or having your own Boeing 747 when you're big, or getting to the van, as you've seen a lot of stories where the band goes around, unloading the drums, unloading the bass, unloading all of that. And do you see the Web 3.0 offering opportunities to offer alternatives to artists to monetize with their art? So instead of just being a YouTube video where, sure, you can make money because advertisers are going to stick, an ad at the beginning and the end of your video, what about virtual concerts? What about virtual session? Or how many other ways you think that could pop up with some creative mind and the right technology?
Oh, it's quite interesting with virtual concerts and how they work today. I don't think they work as well for the artist as they do for the actual hosting platform, like YouTube. If you have your
again, it works for the venue, but it doesn't work for the artist.
Yeah, but virtual concerts is, I think that, why host on YouTube when you can host yourself? Why experience to have someone earn from commercials on your content when you can record your content? A camera is very available today. You live record your concert, connect it to something within Web3, or even just an open source, or more people-friendly system where you sell your content directly to your users. The problem is that how are you going to be discovered? So this is something that is more for people that is discovered or can market themselves, because every step of the way would be on your hands. Well, you have started a band, you have learned how to play guitar, drums, whatever, and you have done all of that. Of course, you can market yourself. I remember when in the early 20s, we were running around town, picking up flyers, stapling flyers up for people to get noticed that we have a concert this Friday. And we have all of this social media. But with NFTs, you can have admission to your concert, which is playing live at one certain point of time on a website like EVCom, where you just scan your phone towards the camera or connect your wallet. And as soon as the connection is secured, you see that this ticket is secure, you were able to enter. And by the sales statistics, also the artist knows how many people will attend. With live YouTube, you aren't able to know how on beforehand, but you can say it's better to have the choices and the responsibility yourself, but you need to have the knowledge as well. So it's easier with YouTube, but we need to learn to lean towards the future and the new technology and capture it instead of just letting it slip.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's like any other passion that you have. As I say, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, but you kind of need to, right? You need to monetize that. So, it's great to be an artist. It's great to be a writer. Because as you're talking about a musician, I'm thinking writers. I mean, writers, they have the same issue. They depend on a publisher, and then they need to be on a digital, like Amazon. And then if you do the audio, yeah, sure, I can do the audio, but how am I going to sell it? So you always end up with the big distributor. Is maybe the Barnes and Noble, maybe Tower Record, which doesn't exist anymore here in the US, but I've seen it in Japan. So hey, if you want Tower Record, you can find it there, and be ahead of the time. So you need to have some kind of a business mind, or maybe you need someone that has that expertise. So to end these, I mean, I would like to talk about more like how technology is changing the way that somebody is an artist. And maybe I'll have you back if you want to come back to go deeper into this conversation. But to wrap this one here, if you had some advice, maybe for young musicians that are just starting now, you're that 15 years old, that get the guitar and want to make career out of his passion, looking at what the possibilities are now with technology and Web 3.0. I mean, what would be your advice to these people?
Well, if I'm talking to my 15-year-old self, I can say that. But from the future, well, you have made it so far. It has been tough. The music industry is tough, but it's going to get a lot tougher if you don't validate yourself and put a price on whatever you do. So, well, I did myself a favor and started Unity Network and trying to solve the problem with EVCom. For the future generation, learn how to use this new tech, because it's made by the people for the people, to make sure that everyone is treated fair. Okay? And EVCom will be just that. It will be just the middleman handling your transactions. You get a full overview of whatever, whenever, to all artists and event organizers in the world, to solve exactly this problem we have discussed today.
Cool. All right. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap this conversation. I want to thank you for being very open, bringing your story to the table and the reason why you got into this industry, and to talk about where this industry may be going. We didn't talk about online ticket selling and maybe cyber attack and scalping, and how I'm sure that cryptocurrency and crypto contract can avoid also that kind of issue. So again, maybe you'll come back and have another conversation with me. But I hope we made people think. I hope we made young artists and people that love music to realize that the success is not really overnight. It makes me laugh when people are like, "Oh, he just is a overnight success." No, this person's been working really hard on his art for many, many years. And then eventually, if you get that break, it seems like you just made it. But this is people that put blood and sweat and tears in what they love. So a big appreciation for that. And I think it will be just fair that they get the right amount of compensation out of that. So anything that comes to help that, it's welcome. And I invite everybody to check the notes on this Redefining Society podcast, because there will be a way to connect with Charles, and maybe you have some ideas, maybe you have some questions, and learn a little bit more about what he's doing. And if you have some comments, you're a musician, you have your opinion on this, or you're a technologist and you love music and you have other ideas that can go together with this, please leave a comment, and I'll pass it to Charles, and he can try to answer that. I'm sure he will love that. So thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. Take care.
You too, man.
Devo unlocks the full value of machine data for the world's most instrumented enterprises. The Devo Data Analytics Platform addresses the explosion in volume of machine data and the crushing demands of algorithms and automation. Learn more at devo.com. BugCrowd's award-winning platform combines actionable contextual intelligence with the skill and experience of the world's most elite hackers to help leading organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities, protect customers, and make the digitally connected world a safer place. Learn more at bugcrowd.com. Black Cloak provides concierge cybersecurity protection to corporate executives and high-net-worth individuals to protect against hacking, reputational loss, financial loss, and the impacts of a corporate data breach. Learn more at blackcloak.io.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.